the sequel to Sonic Frontiers will be the greatest Sonic game of all time, and I'm not even exaggerating, okay? Sonic Frontiers has been out for almost 5 months, and in those 5 months, we have had more information on the future of Sonic compared to anything we had when Forces released, okay? This has to do in part with Sonic finally finding a gameplay formula that stuck, and the communication from Sonic Team, and so much more. So, if you want to find out why I think the sequel to Sonic Frontiers will be the greatest Sonic game of all time, make sure you watch all the way to the end. Also, this is going to be a part 2 of the 2-part Sonic Frontiers mini-series that I'm doing. So if you want to see the first part, I'll link it on top and I'll link it in the description. But I don't want to waste any more time. Let's just get right into the sequel right now. Let's do it right now. Now, real quick, before we talk about this, I just want to make a little clarification. Shut the fuck up, phone. You may be wondering why I'm specifying that this game will be the sequel to Sonic Frontiers and not just the next Sonic game. Well, besides the fact that it makes a more clickable title, if I say the next Sonic game, technically that means the Murder of Sonic is now the greatest Sonic game of all time, even though it is. I'm saying the sequel to Sonic Frontiers because it will be the game that carry over the open zone formula and the gameplay mechanics that will be used in the sequel. Okay, so now that's out of the way, the first thing that tells me the game will be the best Sonic game of all time is simply the fact that Sonic Frontiers was a critical and financial success. That's right, the Sonic sweep is real! As of recording this video, the latest numbers that we have on Sonic Frontiers is that it sold 3 million copies as of March 2023, making it double generation, sitting at 1.8 million, and more than 3 times Sonic Lost World, sitting around 700,000. And when we look at the reviews for Sonic Frontiers, it is generally positive, having a solid 7 out of 10 critic score and an 8.2 user score. This is probably one of the best reviewed Sonic games, or specifically one of the best reviewed 3D Sonic games since Sonic Generations. Not only that, this game actually won 2 awards. One of the awards was the most anticipated game at the Tokyo Game Show before the game released, and the second award was the best action adventure game of the year at Famitsu, I'm sorry if I pronounced this wrong, Dengeki Game Show. I don't think a Sonic game has ever won an award, so the fact that it's winning 2 is absolutely insane. Not only was this game a success in the West, but it was a success in Japan, which Sonic never is. So that the fact that Sonic was successful in all corners of the globe is really great for the head. And because the game was a success financially and critically, Sega finally decided to give Sonic Team an actual budget. In an investor Q&A, Sega confirmed that going on, they will be providing a larger budget for the Sonic Team so that they can produce larger scale projects for the franchise. This one is probably the best thing that happened, because when we look at Sonic Frontiers, it is very clear that things were cut, corners were cut, and things were edited around and changed to expand the playtime, and because the resources were not big enough. Like for example, Kronos, we know that it was split into 3 islands like Kronos, Rhea, or Ranos, and like literally a few days, like as of recording this video yesterday, the beta gameplay like from 2021 was leaked, and the game looks pretty different, right? And we also see in the concept art that it's clear that the Sonic Team had a different vision for the game that I would have loved to see come to fruition, but sadly, to the lack of budget and a small workforce of about 60 to 80 people, they weren't able to make that a reality. So with this budget increase, hopefully Sonic Team will finally be able to achieve their full vision with the next game, and with the open zone style looking to be a successful step in the new direction for Sonic, they won't need to be spend any time planning as much like they did with Frontiers. Overall, the success of Sonic Frontiers is showing not only the fans, but Sega most importantly, that Sonic is still worth investing in. Especially with the success of the 2 movies, Sonic Prime and the IDW series, the Sonic series as a whole is thriving like it's never have before. So the success of the game has definitely been a positive for the future of this Sonic Frontiers and the next game. But next up, something that's even more important probably, is the fact that Sonic Team, specifically Mario Kishimoto, has been more open and transparent than ever before. During the time before the release and after the release of Sonic Frontiers, the game's director, Mario Kishimoto, has been very active on Twitter. He's been talking to fans on Twitter, answering questions, responding to criticism and feedback on Sonic Frontiers, and the future of the updates of the game and just the series in general. And he's not just giving some bland response like, oh, thank you, I'll take this into consideration. For most of the time, he straight up gives full responses, and some of them could be 1 to 2 tweets long, right? Like, for example, when Sonic Frontiers first released, many fans were discussing that they wished that Sonic Frontiers had a spin dash and momentum. And actually, from Kishimoto, we found out that Sonic Frontiers did have a spin dash at one point, and now we've heard in his own words that Sonic Frontiers will now be implementing a spin dash in the second update of Frontiers. Because of all the feedback and talking to the fan base, we will actually be getting Sonic Frontiers with a spin dash in this lifetime. This will actually be the closest to a Sonic Adventure game that we have had in a long time, especially including the fact that Update 3 will be getting multiple playable characters, and this is all because of the communication between the director and the fans. We would never have had this if, Morio Kishimoto just said nothing. Even when people talk about things that, it seems kind of he would not respond to, he even talks about it. Like, for example, when people are asking, hey, what are you gonna add to this update and what can't you add to the update, he will be straight up. He won't beat around the bush. He doesn't like bullshit or anything. He straight up just said, hey, thanks for the response. We can't put everything in this update, but we will try to put as much as we can, and some stuff we'll have to leave for the next game. So he is being so transparent, and he's taking our criticism to heart rather than just ignoring it like I see most companies do. It's more than I can ask for, and more than the fans can ask for. And if the cards are played right for the next game, with all these new improvements that he's been listening to, it'll 100% be an amazing game. But also, we have to understand, as a fan base, he can't listen to everything, right? Even if it's the next game or the next 2 games, he can't listen to everything. Of course, he wants to have his own say. He can't just listen to the fans all the time. And I feel like this is going on a side tangent, but I feel like that's what made Sonic Frontiers so successful. They didn't listen to shut up, phone again. Jesus Christ, I'll put this on silent. I feel like that's kind of part of why Sonic Frontiers felt like more of a complete game than most Sonic games, because for example, if you look at Sonic Forces, for example, that game felt like it tried to be a boost game. It was a boost game, but it completely got rid of what made the boost fun. And I feel like they just put it in because fans oh, they want a boost, so why not? We put in the boost. And they put Classic Sonic in because, oh, the fans, they love Sonic, Classic Sonic, so I feel like they're trying to pander rather than do what they actually want to do, which actually is a perfect segue into the last point. Sonic Team finally seems like they have their passion back. It feels like ever since Sonic Lost World, Sonic has kind of lost that passion that they used to have. Even with games like Sonic 06, it felt like that they still had passion when making this game. It felt like they still wanted to make a good game, even though, the game, how it turned out. But since Sonic Lost World, all the way up to Sonic Forces, the Sonic games, minus Mania, felt like the passion has been kind of ripped out. And it felt like they were only making games because they had to, especially with Forces. Like Forces, it took 5 years to make that game, but 2 of those years were built spending the engine, right? So they probably shut that game out in 2 years. But with Frontiers, it felt like the team making the game really wanted it to be a new direction for the series. They spent just 2 years just coming up with the concept and idea for the game. They really tried coming up with something that people will enjoy. They went through different concepts up until they came up with something that people really enjoyed. That's why that when that first gameplay reveal, not even gameplay, that first teaser dropped, we had so many playtests and leaks coming from those playtesters because they kept going back and forth from the drawing board up until they got something that people were happy with. And from playing the game, you can see passion seeping through every corner of the game. The environments look gorgeous. The music is varied and it's amazing. Listen, I've talked about this music before. The Titan fights, what have I said that hasn't been said already? The Titan fights are amazing. It's so beautiful. The character writing is on point. The characters actually feel like how they are supposed to feel like, and the interactions between them are all fun and enjoyable to watch. And seeing this passion being re-injected into Sonic Team gives me so much hope for the future, because one thing that kills a project is a lack of passion. If you don't want to do something, you're not going to want to put your best foot forward. And I'm finally seeing that with Sonic Team in general, and I'm feel like, yes, this is gonna be a good future, especially with Iizuka saying that he wants this formula, this open zone formula, to be the basis for Sonic for the future. It seems that not only do they have a reinvigorated passion, but the vision and direction for the series has never seemed more clear. And this is something that has been missing from Sonic and Sonic Team for a long time. Sonic, it never seems like he has an idea of what he wants. Sometimes he's classic 2D, sometimes he's venture style with momentum, sometimes he's boost style. It's never clear of what he wants to be. But this new formula, it seems that it's jived right with general audiences and fans, that it feels like everyone is enjoying this idea of Sonic, that finally the direction seems clear of what they have to do. And because of those things, that is why this next game will be amazing. So, we have come to the end, ladies and gentlemen. That is why I think the sequel to Sonic Frontiers will be the greatest Sonic game of all time. Now, is there things that need to be done? Of course. I don't think they can just redo what they did with Frontiers. Obviously, things need to be changed. We already know that we're getting the spin dash in the next update. We're going to see how that plays. And I feel like, especially Kishimoto's going to listen, that let's see how it works. Because the code apparently is, I don't know how it's going to work exactly, but there's some code that's linked to the boost. I don't know exactly how it's going to work. We'll see. Will it look like an adventure? Will it be its own thing? I don't know. That's up to... But I'm very, very faithful. I have faith in Kishimoto because he said he listened to all of our feedback, and he feels like it's fun to play. I have full faith in this guy. He has gone through hell. I just want to say thank you to Iizuka. Thank you, Kishimoto, for making this game. I feel like this game again has so much passion in it, and I feel for Kishimoto, because like we talked about last episode. There's a lot of pressure going into this game that if it was bad, it would have been probably the end of his directing career. So I'm very glad that everyone's enjoying this game and that he's getting all of the positive feedback, and it shows that everyone cares and that he cares. So there's my piece. We have some good stuff to talk about in the next episodes. I want to talk about the early footage that dropped. I want to talk about what we can expect from update 2 and update 3, because despite what we have, we don't really know much. So there's a lot to look forward to the future. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, turn on notification, and don't forget to comment, because I always like when you guys comment. So until next time, I'll see you on the next one.